assistant in chat if there's anything quick that she can help you out with. Her name's Yelena, so keep an eye out for her. All right, so hello everyone. Today we're talking about simplifying payments for unique forms. I thank you for your time and for joining us today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. For the presentation, once you're able to see it, if you would like to, on the bottom of your screen in the middle, there should be a button where you can make it big screen. All right, here we go. So again, we're talking about simplifying payments for unique forms today. My name's Megan Myrick. I'm a HeyGov specialist, part of the digital transformation team. I know all the ins and outs of HeyGov, and I can help you out with any questions you have after the presentation. If you want to know ways that your municipality can use HeyGov, just feel free to reach out. Let me make it where you can see me if you would like to. So what do we mean by unique forms? Unique forms is any form that's not standard or exactly common in most municipalities. It doesn't mean it's a weird form. It just means that not everybody has it or uses it. These forms usually need to be custom built in HeyGov. HeyGov has templated forms for things like operator licenses, liquor licenses, dog licenses, building permits, and boat launch permits. Those are things that the majority of municipalities use. They're pretty standard. Not everybody has a boat launch, but that is still a very common form. HeyGov can build your more unique forms that are based on, we'll just take your current PDF or paper form, however you currently do the process, and we'll just build it in our system. We can handle any form you have, any license, any permit. We can build it in our system. So some unique forms that our customers currently have in HeyGov, I just kind of looked through and pulled some from the list that maybe there was just one or two of. So just to read through these really quickly, we have the billiards, pool, and bowling centers license application, a carnival and circus license application, which is usually more in a special event permit, but this one's broken out. A chicken and duck permit, I love that one. A Christmas parade entry form, you can do those as well in HeyGov, just simple entry forms for special events. Commercial truck parking permit, a culvert storm tap permit, a dump truck rental request, fireworks pyrotechnic display application, mobile home park license application, a non-profit rummage sale permit application, non-alcoholic dance club license, secondhand article dealer, secondhand jewelry dealer, secondhand article mall or flea market license application. That one's a long one. Sidewalk cafe license application. Storing a non-operating vehicle license. When I was looking through these, trying to pull out some of the more unique ones, I never heard of that. I'm actually storing a non-operating vehicle right now and do not have a license for it. I don't think my city requires it though. Taxi cab business license, theater license application, vegetation alteration application. I actually had to look at that one. It's a pretty interesting application. This municipality requires, if you're doing like tree removal, anything like that, to actually fill it out. Let them know where the trees are, what size they are. They have a lot of guidelines about removing trees. If they're over a certain size, you have to actually replant a tree with the similar size, which I think is a good thing. Very unique. Had never heard of that before, but I do think it's a good system to have in place. And then a winter exhibition race permit. So now we'll just take an in-depth look at one of the forms. If you would like to hear more about other forms, like any of the other forms I mentioned, or maybe you have a unique form and you're wondering what it could look like in HeyGov, at the end I'll have some contact information and you'll get a follow-up email at the end as well feel free to book a call with me and we can kind of go over that together. Just we can chat about it and see what we can do for you. Or like I said, if you want to see any of the other examples, I can show you that as well. So we're going to look at a carnival circus license application from the city of Sheboygan. They have about 50,000 population, and the purpose of this form is for licensing of carnivals and circuses. I think usually this falls under a business license or, again, like a special event permit, but they have a broken out license specifically for the carnival and circus. There are multiple departments involved. So they have the clerk's office, police department, fire department, and the attorney's office involved in this license. And it has 4 steps: applicant information, insurance information, and then just signature and payment, and then just reviewing the application and sending it off into HeyGov. So this is the beginning of the application. Some of their choices are going to increase and decrease the price, and then some of it might pop up other options. So they have the type of license being requested. You can choose either carnival or circus, and they do have different pricing depending on which option you choose. The type of entity applying for the license, your legal name, trade name, or doing business as name, business address, business phone number. And if we continue on, you also have to list the name of the manager or agent of the business. They want a description of the location of the event. And they also want you to complete a separate special event permit application for this event and enter this the application number in to kind of tie those applications together. And we can do that in HeyGov as well. If you have 2 applications that all the information needs to be kind of centralized, we can connect them together this way by having them enter in a link to their filled application or just their application number so that you can go and view all those at the same time. The next step is for them to enter in insurance information. So they might have multiple insurance companies that they're using, and they can add those. Initially, it's just going to have 1 box. So they need to enter in the name of the insurance company, the phone number, and the policy expiration date. And then it has some information above about what kind of insurance they need, what it needs to cover. And then they need to upload their insurance policy certificate and their insurance endorsement. For those, they can upload the files. And if there's anything you have to have in your form, you can have it as a required field, of course, and they won't be able to submit without attaching either the files or filling out those fields. To those of you who are just joining, we are kind of in the middle of it, but we will be sending a recording at the end later on today. So no worries there. You will be able to see the beginning, but welcome in. All right, the next step for this carnival or circus license application is they have to agree to the terms and sign. So they're saying that they're familiar with the laws, ordinance, and that they agree and that they'll comply. And they can either do a digital signature or draw their own signature with this form. And it has their subtotal depending on the options they chose. All right, at the end, they'll be able to review the application information. So this is just going to show a breakdown of all the information they filled in. So again, they can just review it, make sure everything's correct. And if everything's correct, they can move on to the payment portion. You can choose to allow for people to pay in person and online, or just one or the other. So if you just want to take payments in person for something, or you only want to allow them to pay online, you can definitely do that with HeyGov. For the online payments, standard fee is 2.9% plus 30 cents for online payments, our credit card processing fee. If you'd like to tie ACH in there, it's only 0.8%. So that kind of lowers the fee a bit. And I think ACH also has a cap of $5. So if it's a really big fee, a big payment, that helps out a lot. All right. And I mentioned so this is more on the back end now. I mentioned some conditional logic that is built in that changes the price. And this is stuff that we can set up, or you can set up if you have IT. It's not too complicated, but their conditional logic was built on if it was a carnival or circus and how many days the carnival or circus will be operating. And they add, looks like, so it goes from like 75 to 175, depending on if it's a carnival or circus, and then they just add a certain amount for each day as well. All right, and again on the back end, they have a workflow built in. I already mentioned all of the departments, but just another rundown. The clerk's office, police department, and records office, the fire department, and their attorney's office all have to check off on this form. So this is just kind of the workflow. It's going to send it off to all these people. Once the form's submitted, they'll know that they have to go check off on their portion of the application. They'll receive an email and an in-app notification, and then everything to check off on can be done within the app. And then once all the departments have done their part, you can approve or decline the permit. So this is just what it looks like from the admin side when you're going in to review the license or application. We can see the filled in spots down here, and then you also have some applicant info and then a map that kind of shows you where they're at, and then below that there's an application timeline that just shows a breakdown of everything that's been done in the application, when payment was taken, if any changes were requested, anything like that. It's really good for record keeping. So this is the departments that have to check off on this application before it can be approved. Again, we have the clerk's office, police department, fire department, and attorney's office. It looks like the clerk's office and the attorney's office both have portions that they need to check off on and enter in information. The other people just need to kind of approve or decline it. And then the attorney's office and clerk's office have to actually enter in information. So this is the information that the clerk's office has to enter in. They'll have a staff meeting date to review the license and any information entered and check off on it. And so they have to enter in the staff meeting date and then any notes that they came up with at the meeting. And then the attorney's office, they have to enter in some documents. So they have, and then choose whether they're granting it with a warning, if they're denying it, if it's a non-renewal, or if they have to hold the application until further investigation's been done. All right, and Hey License, it has many helpful features that makes the process even better, even faster, even easier. So let's just go over those really quick. So I've already mentioned this, but the workflow management is going to shoot off an email, notify all of the departments. So one person's not having to play air traffic controller. You're like, hey, did you get this done? Take actual paperwork or email them. It's a lot less hand holding. It's just going to shoot it off to everybody, and then everybody can log in and do their part. Everybody can be responsible for their own actions. And then we have review steps. And again, if you're viewing it in small screen, you might want to make it larger at the bottom middle portion of your screen to be able to see this. The review steps is like what the clerk's office and the attorney's office had to do in the application I just showed you. This is more for a building permit. So this one's a little bit more information for an inspector check. But these can be custom built to whatever information you need from your departments. If it's a background check from the police department and you need them to put detailed notes in, we can build that in. So whatever information you need, this can be customized. And you can also request for answers to be changed that your residents or applicants have filled in. If there's any incorrect information or it's just not pulling up in your system, you can request for them to change that. You're not going to have to email them or call them. You can do it directly from HeyGov. Just hover over, click request change when you're reviewing the form. It'll send them an email, app notification. If they have text notifications turned on, they'll get that as well. And once they update it, it'll automatically send it back over to you and update the form on your end as well. You can also add internal notes. This is helpful for the If you're using it to keep records as well, or if you want to add notes for any other departments to see, maybe somebody called and gave you some extra information about their application, you can add that in as well, and it'll save it to the form. And you can send messages to the applicant. Maybe you don't want to shoot off an email or call them. You can send messages directly from HeyGov. And again, it'll notify them however they have notifications turned on, usually at least email and app notifications. And again, this is the application timeline I mentioned before. It's going to keep up with everything that's been done in the form, as well as internal notes and if you send messages. We can see when payment was taken, when different departments have approved their sections, and then when requests for changes have been made and when they were updated. Hey License is going to save you hours of your time by helping you do less busy work with your applications. So just for a little recap, our forms are fully customizable. They have a user-friendly interface, and they're integrated with online payments. We have an intuitive workflow that streamlines your processes, and we're a secure, scalable platform for multi-departmental use. And we'll build your forms for you, or you can use our drag and drop form builder to build them yourself. It's pretty simple to use. I've learned how to use it. And one thing I didn't put in the presentation, but all of our forms can be accessed either via desktop or on our mobile app that's available on all Android and iOS devices. So they can either fill out the forms on the go or while they're at home on their laptop, either way. So does anybody have any questions? Feel free to either drop them in the chat or on the question and answer section. And while you guys are doing that really quick, I'm just going to kind of review all of our apps that we have, and then I'll start answering your questions. So our first app that kind of builds into our other apps is HeyGov Pay, and that's for online and in-person payments. We have payment portals, but it also integrates in with Hey License and Hey Reserve. Hey License, it's kind of what we just looked over. You can have forms, any kind of application, licensing, and permitting with workflows in HeyGov. Hey Reserve, that's for online reservations of your facilities. If you have park pavilions, town halls, anything like that that you rent out, it can be done online. It has kind of an Airbnb interface. And then our last app is Hey 311 for citizen reporting. So if your residents have any issues that they'd like to report, ask any questions, just want to make a comment, this can be connected to your website and done through the mobile app. It has two-way communication, so you can actually respond to them and have a conversation. If you want to send them updates, you can update the report, or you can just send them a message and let them know it's done. If you're interested in any of those apps or you want to learn more about Hey License, again, feel free to book a call with me when we send those follow-up emails. All right, now I'm going to see if anybody sent in questions. If a form requires a document upload, is there a way to override that in case of a special circumstance? You can either make it required or non-required, and you can do it depending on certain options that they choose. So for example, if like one type of company like an LLC needs to upload a document, but if you're a sole proprietor, it's not required, then we can just have different form upload fields that pop up depending on the option they choose, and it can be either required or not required. You can override that on your side though. We can go in and make it not required if you need to in case of a special circumstance. So yes. All right, let me see if I can get this to disappear. Okay, I see that was the same question. Do we have any other questions? Yeah, feel free to drop them in chat or in the question and answer box. While you guys are doing that, if anybody has any other question, I just wanted to mention that through the end of the year, if any contracts are signed by December 31st of this year, and it's coming up fast, we are providing free credit card readers to any new contracts. They're very handy. They connect via Wi-Fi. They connect directly to the HeyGov system, and it has tap to pay, swipe, and chip readers. And feel free to stick around, and if you have any questions, you can get those in. I'm going to go ahead and have my contact information up. If anybody wants to write down my email, screenshot this, take a picture. If you need to contact me before we're able to send, if you want to go ahead and contact me before we send the follow-up emails, or you just want my email on hand, feel free to write it down. It's at the bottom here. It's Megan@heygov.com, MEAGAN @heygov.com, and I can answer any questions you have. If I don't know the answer, I know somebody who has the answer. And I just want to thank you all again for taking the time to come to my webinar today. I appreciate it. I know that you're all very busy. So thank you for taking the time to view this and just hang out with me for a bit. All right, like I said, I'll keep this open for a few more minutes if anybody has questions. Otherwise, you're free to go. And yeah, just thanks again.